Hello, this is John Bradley. I play Samuel Tarley in this episode of Game of Thrones.
As Kit Harington, and I play Jon Snow in this episode.
And I'm Rose Leslie, and I play Egret in this episode.
Yep.
/played.
/played. Not important anymore.
Past tense. It's always hard to do past tenses, don't you think, when you do something like this? Especially the start of the episode, because we've already seen it, and I'm guessing most people have already seen it when they watch this DVD. The fact is that they know the ending before they re-watch the start of it, so that kind of dramatic irony of knowing that by the end of it Rose is going to be
gone.
I really think it's a bad idea if you're watching the commentary before actually seeing the episode. That kind of ruins it, doesn't it? Not a good idea.
It's not a great idea. Well, the way this commentary is going so far, I don't particularly think it's a great idea to watch the commentary full stop.
I was hoping they would have focused just more in on, the top of the wall at that bit. They changed the...
For the world every single time.
They're making complaints already, but the top of the wall in that, they change up the things.
It is actually quite difficult because a friend of mine actually wrote parody lyrics.
Oh, really?
A parody lyrics to the theme tune. But he gets scuppered every week because the theme tune's a different length every episode.
Keeps him on his toes,
kind of how long the cast list is and how many worlds they've got to visit during this opening sequence. So he's on a bit of a hide into nothing, really. Still.
Good luck to him.
Definitely a worthwhile thing to do. Hey.
And here we go. So this is me and John at the top of the wall. John and Samuel. And this was a nice scene, do you think?
It was a really nice scene, yeah. It's a real kind of calm before the storm scene, this. And also, he's just kind of catching up with their relationship, because you've not really seen them. Every time you've really seen them talking for quite a while, they've been talking about big plotty kind of expositional things. And it's just nice to see them just talking about the kind of minutiae, if you like.
What was she like?
And I also felt with this, and I know we discussed it, that this conversation has been going on for a while off camera, that you have asked me this question before about what she was like and who she was, and I've just dismissed it.
Yeah.
And this is maybe the first time that John's opening up about Egret. Definitely in the whole season, but to you as well, I think.
Definitely. I think how big of a feet line was kind of misunderstood by some people.
No, I remember laughing out loud. I absolutely loved it.
But I think that some people read that Sam's got some kind of foot fetish.
No, they didn't.
I think some people genuinely thought that Sam's going to blah, blah, blah. Yeah, Sam's going to get right to the heart of the matter. He's going to discuss feet eventually.
Yeah.
But, I don't mean to explain it on the commentary, but that is just a thing of... Just Sam thinks that John is kind of pussyfooting around the main details and not getting... Sam's not getting the information that he so desperately craves.
Not the size of her feet.
The interesting thing is, our vows never specifically...
Anytime you see top of the wall scene in this episode, it's all in studio, and they built this incredible set that was... How big would you say it was, John? It was sort of took up a whole
The top
massive
of the wall
room.
set was absolutely huge, yeah, and it was raised as well. It was about 20 feet in the air. So when you're standing on top of this, it was just me and you on the top of this set, Kit, and you feel completely isolated. You feel completely isolated from the rest. You're on like a little plinth, kind of just in the middle of nowhere. There's nobody else up there. You really do feel as kind of isolated and exposed.
Beautifully designed to look, I believe, and I think the idea was to look like the trenches, sort of ice trenches. It has a First World War feel to it.
And also the problem with scenes like this is when they're indoors meaning to be outdoors, it means you've got to contend with these industrial-sized wind machines.
Yeah, and meant to look cold when you're surrounded by fire, which is not easy.
Exactly, which means that every single line... I think every single line of mine for this scene was ADR'd. I don't know about yours, but
Really?
every single line, yeah.
An arrow 6 inches from my heart. There'll be arrows for all of us soon, I imagine. There will. They've already done the worst thing to me they could ever do.
I think one of the problems I had for John throughout the season was, trying to show how much he misses Egret without ever saying it. He never mentions her once throughout the whole season until this scene here. And even then, he doesn't really know how to express himself to someone else like Sam, so he can't
Which is one of the good things, because Sam is actually very, very good with language. He's very good about describing his emotions and getting his kind of point of view across. And so he kind of tries to coax a little bit of that out of John sometimes.
Yeah.
But it never really works, so...
No, but I think he knows how damaging it is, or how damaging it can be, to kind of suppress all these emotions for a whole lifetime. And I think he just tries to get... Jesus. I think he just... Oh, here she is.
She loves her arrows, sharpening those arrows.
Really angry.
Yes.
Oh, that was a night to remember. Of course.
Rose, I think that you might have to say something.
I think I do, but I'm trying to... I mean, I kind of want Christopher in the room with me, to be fair.
Really?
Was this filmed
Or
in
Yuri.
Was this filmed in Iceland, Rose?
This was filmed in Northern Ireland, and where were we? I think we were somewhere near the quarry, actually, where Castle Black is shot, somewhere in that quarry. And it was a night shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Very fun.
Most of the kind of day's work on this episode were night shoots. We did like a consecutive block of about 10 night shoots on the trot or something like
We
that.
did, yeah.
It felt longer though, didn't
It
it?
felt a lot longer, yeah. Really, really.
Especially when the rain came.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't think it through. I mean, it was.
It is Northern Ireland, to be fair, though.
It's kind of November in Belfast overnight. It's going to get a little bit nippy. And people talk about, you know, how much do the costumes and stuff protect you from the cold. But actual fact is, it protects you pretty well from the neck down.
Yeah.
But as far as your face goes, it's your face that gets the brunt of it. And of course, it's the face that's your tool to be an actor. So it really does compromise. Don't laugh at that. Please. Bringing the whole tone of it down.
None of those were your...
And this is the wonderful Yuri.
Yeah,
The
unbelievable.
wonderful Yuri.
Absolutely
The terrifying Yuri.
Yeah.
I think I remember when I was watching this, I remember laughing when I get up and walk towards him. He's like 7 feet taller
He's
than
absolutely
me.
huge.
I don't, on the day, I don't remember kind of like looking up to him so far.
I mean,
But I really do.
a very, very,
When he stands up, he like keeps on going.
a very, very lovely man. But there's something about the pair of them, actually, him and Christopher, that's just so kind of big.
And he is tall.
Exactly.
He's a very tall man.
Yeah.
They're just so big and expansive. It's hard to feel completely unintimidated by them, if you know what I mean. I mean, look at the size of these guys. I mean, Christopher especially. Have you ever seen anybody look kind of more authentic in a role? He looks like he was born to be a wild.
Seriously strong
Oh God,
individual. Incredible fighters, both of them. I had to. Well, we'll talk about that later. But I had to fight Yuri in this episode.
Okay, spoiler alert.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Is John reading again?
This is as far as my action goes. That was what my stuntman was used for, just dragging his finger across the face. Oh, and Peter as well.
A wonderful man.
He really is. And that's the great thing about all these episodes, similar to the Castle Black episode. Kind of, you know everything's going to kick off eventually, but before that you do get these nice little talking scenes between two people, and scenes that are quite low-key and quite acting scenes.
And again, I think referencing many famous war films. When I first read this episode, I thought how much had been sourced from different classic war films, such as The Calm Before the Storm, the two men talking in the trenches before the big push,
Exactly, yeah.
the older general talking to the younger man, sort of thing. There's so much in there.
Answer my question. What are you reading?
Maester Fall.
Ah.
This was a new set, wasn't it, John? This library.
It was a new set, but it's already been in this season. It was in the episode where you were researching wildling camps and stuff, and we were talking about Bran. It was used in the season before, but I think it's a new set for this season.
Yeah, new set for this season.
Yes. Imagine the stories wildlings tell about us.
I mean, just doing one day's work with Peter Vaughan, you just learn so much.
This is a man who starred in a film opposite Frank Sinatra.
I know.
Amazing.
Joint head billing, I think.
That still amazes me. He said he told me about Frank Sinatra. He said you only got one take with him.
Really?
Yeah, because if he did one take once, he'd done it perfectly. So don't ask him for another one.
I see. I should have tried that. I should have tried that on the day.
I'll try it for season 5, maybe.
No. That's the thing. I think it was in the 60s. Frank Sinatra, 2013. Me. Talk about the trajectory of a career.
Sounds. 'Cause. I was in love once.
You were?
You can imagine all manner of horrors befalling that poor girl and her child. Is it so difficult to imagine that an old person was once, more or less, like you?
I'm sorry, Maester. It's a very, very poignant line. That's what this show is so good at, I think, is humanising these characters. And the books as well, to some extent. But it really does give them a kind of backstory and a past life and a real humanity to them, which I think sets it apart from lots of other similar movies and TV shows of this ilk. Is the fact that everybody's characters, everybody stands on such a very, very deep foundation when they play their part. All the questions can be answered, all the motives can be explained.
Now, I think one of the interesting things about this episode is it's a lot of character storylines, but really you follow Samwell through it, don't you? And in a lot of ways, you start with him at the top of the wall with me, and with me.
Yeah.
Then you join Peter here, and all through the whole battle, you're following
with
Samwell.
Gilly as well.
With
Yeah,
Gilly.
you do.
And he's kind of you're sort of driven by Sam throughout the whole episode to connect to all the different characters.
I think that really works because I think of all the people in this episode, Sam is the person who's the most terrified of it all. Even though he has brave moments, he's the most terrified. So if you want to get across just how terrifying and how kind of explosive and how unpleasant this battle is, I think it's good to see it through the eyes of the person who finds it the most terrifying.
Oh, one of my favourite lines coming up here, John.
Oh, one of my favourites as well. I was so delighted with this.
I remember you practicing it for hours.
Once again, not moving as quick as I thought I was on the day.
Open the gate!
I thought I was charging down them stairs. Oh, here we go.
Yes!
The phone gave me strict orders to not open the gate.
Oh, Pip! Open the fucking gate!
Yes, you heard.
I've never heard you curse before.
Yes, well, best get used to it.
Oh.
Was that your first curse word in the whole of Thrones, do you think?
Oh, God, yeah.
Because I haven't had one yet. I swear I'm the only character now that hasn't had a curse word.
You said bleeding earlier on.
Oh, come on.
It's kind of mild,
It was
but still.
I'm so sorry. I didn't know.
This is such an emotionally charged moment, this, because it's all about... We saw just kind of how potentially Gilly's death would have affected Sam. It completely destroyed him, and this scene's all about
Wherever you go.
second chances and kind of redemption.
It's two horns.
It's all about to kick off.
And this is where it kind of builds pace, isn't it? This is
Yeah, this is it, yeah. Which I think is really well structured as well, because you do have these human moments that are kind of interrupted by... I mean, Sam would have probably kissed Gilly there. That's the thing about it. Sam was probably feeling the motivation to kiss Gilly at the gate, but he was kind of interrupted by that. And it was the horn that... yeah, it was hearing that horn that kind of spurred him on to actually kiss her in the end, because it really did make him think that this could be the only chance I ever get.
God, that owl was a nightmare.
Oh, yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Why? What happened? Would he never
We'll
take
get an
off?
owl in a really, really big room, and we'll tell it to go and land on a bee.
Yeah.
About 2 hours trying to get it down from the ceiling.
Shots like this make this episode. Look at this.
And there's the biggest fire we've ever seen, as promised.
Oh, he's a man of his word, isn't he?
He lives up to it.
Man.
Old man.
Say what you like about him, but he seldom doesn't keep a
He
promise.
says what he means. It's pretty big fire.
I love these shots. They've done brilliant work.
Brilliant work. I think the biggest green screen in Europe or something we
I
used
think
for
it
this.
is, yeah, that's what they said.
Actually, I remember seeing it before you guys started shooting. I remember seeing the top of the wall.
Those barrels weighed
Ginormous.
nothing.
Oh,
Absolutely
sorry.
nothing.
Oh, it's sad to see Mark now. All this action's so exciting. And also, can we just talk about the scoring for this?
Yeah.
The music is absolutely unbelievable. It's quite often with kind of film and TV soundtracks, the best ones are the ones you don't hear. They just add something without really being noticed. But the work that Ramin did on this episode in particular is absolutely extraordinary.
Yeah, huge credit. This scene was Interesting for me and Owen Teal, who plays Alistair Thorne. Because Alistair Thorne for a moment admits that John's been right.
Yeah.
John was right all along. And then smashes him back down with this bit here, which is beautifully delivered.
Twat with a mouth. But if he starts second-guessing himself, that's the end.
I think I say the least curse words, but I get cursed at the most.
You just have to take it.
I get called a twat, a bastard. I'm just waiting for little Gimp to come up.
Well, you know how Sam's developed a taste for swearing now.
Oh,
He might be
God.
launching a couple like you next season. It's amazing, Owen, isn't he?
Yeah.
One of those actors where you can get the camera as close to his face as you want and you've still got a completely believable, credible performance. He's just acting from top to toe, really. This sequence here, this scene with the kiss, was the first thing we shot on this episode.
Was it?
Yeah, we did this episode with Neil kind of 2 weeks before it all kicked off properly. Then Neil had 2 weeks prep and then we started proper. So this was like a little kind of support act.
From now on, we'd stay together.
I didn't mean in the same room.
What are you going to do out there?
Backtracking already.
How? You're going to fight the free folk
When
they
does he make
come
the decision to kiss
you?
her?
In Molestown, they killed everyone.
I can't just hide here.
I think it's literally a fraction of a second before he does it. It's Sam once again acting from gut,
Down here.
Impulse.
acting from absolute impulse. He doesn't know he's going to do it here. But the moment comes, that is my stomach rumbling, by the way.
Is that your tongue?
I thought it was Rose's.
Yeah. No, mine's rumbled before. As in maybe about 5 minutes ago.
Oh,
There
no,
it
look at
is.
Champion.
that. The absolute legend that is. Oh.
I like the way Night's Watch kisses actually mean something.
Yeah, they always do. They don't. They never throw a kiss away. It's always a meaningful kiss.
I won't die.
A lot of people watching this probably thought, yeah. Because you're talking about the old war films earlier and the source material for the war films. In a war film of like the kind of 40s, 50s, Sam would be guaranteed to be the character that dies.
After that line, especially, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. That's the great thing about this show. It takes the cliches, acknowledges the cliches,
Yeah.
and completely disregards them.
This is also Joseph Alton's last episode.
Yeah,
And what a friend and what an actor he was.
absolutely, yeah. Oh, completely.
More than this side. Look at lots of weapons and things. This is the perfect place for us to be.
It's interesting for these lads, Mark and Joe, that had their last episode, and Rose as well, of course. I think they're all playing their absolute A game on this episode.
Yeah.
Well, I think you've got to. I think kind of like going into this episode and knowing that it is your last and that you're going to be gone afterwards.
Yeah.
I think it's the one last kind of like final push, isn't it? You've got to bring your A game. As in every day, but you're absolutely right.
I didn't know I was going to kill it.
But God, I mean, we'll get to it in the end, but when
I was going to kill Gillen and take the baby.
when you see Mark and then Joe, it is sad.
Someone had asked me my name.
We all became very, very close in the Night's Watch and throughout this episode as well, as friends and colleagues.
Yeah, definitely.
And there was something incredibly emotional about, you know, sort of saying goodbye to Mark and Joe.
Well, that's the thing.
And obviously this one, but we'll get to that.
Well, yeah.
We'll get to that.
That's the thing about, I mean, the kind of viewers and the audience, they have this real kick to the guts of saying goodbye to a character that they've grown, you know, very, very close to and have lots of affection for. And we have that as well, but we have the double whammy blow of saying goodbye to the actor as well. So it's kind of twice as hard for us to accept that they're gone sometime.
Oh, peeping up.
Go on, forget about that. When was I sneaking up on you? That is not me.
Isn't it?
They wouldn't allow me to do it. I wish I had been able to do it. To be fair, I probably would have landed on my arse.
I don't think they've ever allowed you to run. In Game of Thrones, have they?
They've seen me run once, and then they decided to never make sure that it happened again. Thank heavens for Sean, my amazing stunt double.
Come on!
Those arrows.
Oh, sorry, this is where it starts picking up pace. It was a bit presumptuous before.
But you're right, the score is amazing because that kind of deep groan, that one just there, like it completely resonates with you and you just get very excited.
And this is one of the greatest shots here when it rises up, goes over the wall and then focuses on the fire. It's fantastic.
I remember when me and Joseph were on these, this battlement above the gate, just watching you guys charging at us.
Do you know what? This isn't it, actually. This is on the other side of the wall. Because I remember thinking that, and then these are the mammoths. Right. We didn't have mammoths on our side.
Yeah. I wasn't talking about this bit.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, okay.
I wasn't talking about this bit in particular.
Oh, right, okay. Got it.
Robert Webb's great movie mistakes here. No, I know. No, I know. I know. I'll tell you when it comes up.
I was blown away by both those mammoths.
Is that a mammoth, Road?
That is a mammoth right there. Those are two very large tusks.
I heard they dressed an elephant up in a woolly costume to get the mammoth, but I'm starting to believe that was David Benioff pulling my leg.
Dressing an elephant up in a woolly costume is basically my approach to Sam. It's basically it's basically my process throughout this whole shoot.
I love this bit.
I said knock and hold, you cunts! Does knock mean draw? No, sir! Does fucking hold mean fucking drop? No, sir! You're planning to die here tonight? No, sir! That's very good to hear! Draw! No! Down below!
Wow. Oh, yes, now I think this is what we're talking
what I'm
about.
talking
There we
about,
go,
yeah.
John. So we did this take several times, and we had to... Yeah, we had to, like, dodge the pretend oncoming arrows.
You do a
It's
great
lot
little
of
dodge
fun.
in a minute, don't you?
I do a little dodge, yeah. Fake little dodge.
They're attacking the southern gate! Now? Now! Go on, down there. Brother Slint, you have the wall. What? What are you fucking waiting for? Move! The man! Move!
Oh, he's such a horrible character, Slint, isn't he?
Oh, you love him, not Slint. No one likes Slint.
Yeah.
But you love Thorne in this episode.
Oh, he's unbelievable.
Redeeming.
He really
episode.
is.
He steps up to the mark, doesn't he?
Well,
And you want him to, and he does.
he really kind of... It's a great revelation of him who's a man who's not particularly pleasant a lot of the time, but he's a man you definitely want fighting on the same side as you. He's a man who's seen it all. And he has got that extra maturity. That was the dodge.
Yeah.
Lovely bit of dodge in there.
Legolas, yeah.
You! Over there!
So it was all quite intimidating with all of us running at once down that little drive.
Yeah, it was really terrifying. Just that sheer kind of force of manpower. You could just really hear the ground.
Lots of hairy
thundering.
men just screaming.
Really hear the ground thundering underfoot. It was absolutely extraordinary. And so when you think about this episode and just how much coverage there is and how many shots there are, I'm surprised we kind of got it done in the amount of time that we did.
Well, that's Neil Marshall for you.
Yeah.
That's someone who is an expert at getting what he needs in
Just
a
knows
really
exactly what he wants, yeah.
limited amount of time.
100 generations have defended this castle. She's never fallen before. She will not fall tonight. Those are thins on our walls. They eat the flesh of the men they kill. Do you want to fill the belly of a thin tonight? No! Tonight we fight.
It's very important to say and to give huge credit to all of the background artists we had.
Oh my God, yeah.
During the whole of
They were sensational.
Sensational, and they came and they threw their all into it, and they rehearsed for maybe 3 days with our wonderful fight choreographer Cece Smith, and we couldn't have asked for better, really. They really went for it, and they gave it
They
their
were
all.
so energised on every single take.
I think that there was a sense, though, while we were doing this, filming a lot of this battle stuff, that it was going to be pretty special. And it was going to be something that we all felt a huge privilege to be a part of. And I think the essays felt that as well.
Yeah.
I think the background guys really felt that they were part of something that was going to really be kind of historic TV, and because of that, they really gave themselves completely to it, gave themselves physically, emotionally, and mentally, and really committed to it just as much as kind of any of us did. They really felt part of that team.
That's not easy on cold, rainy night shoots in Belfast.
It's true. That's the great thing about this. We're getting to season 4. A lot of these kind of background guys and people working on the show come to it as fans. So for a lot of these guys,
they grow their beards throughout the year for it, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They really just throw themselves into it, and it's heroic effort.
4 inches of cold rolled steel. Those are giants riding mammoths down there. Do you think your cold rolled steel's gonna stop them? No such thing as giants. A story for the children.
This is another kind of reference to war films, a general losing it, cowardice kicking in.
Yeah.
And Dominic playing it brilliantly.
The most experienced man he's got said he needs you.
Need it below. Yes.
Yeah, that's the thing about this, is the fact that begrudgingly you start to feel some sympathy for Slint, and then you have to check yourself and remind yourself, no, he's absolutely awful.
Yeah.
But still you think, I'd like to think that in this situation I'd be Jon Snow and heroic and take control.
Who knows, right? Yeah.
But in actual fact, see Neil there?
Yeah.
Do you see that?
No, I missed that.
Little Neil Marshall cameo there.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. I didn't even know.
Because Neil is a master archer, isn't he?
Yes.
Neil's very, very much into archery,
Yes.
so he slipped himself in nicely there.
They want summit before dawn.
And this is when Jon has to take control of the wall and start really living up to the sort of leadership qualities he's meant to have. And I think the way I've always tried to play it is that he doesn't want to, he has to. And I think that's right, and that's sort of what makes him a good leader and what makes him be good at commanding men.
Yeah, exactly. He's not in it for the kind of heroics of it,
No.
or for any
Glory or anything.
really glory or any kind of... He's
in it for his brothers, like every good soldier.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, there's no kind of histrionics going on. He's just...
This is a big-ass giant.
This is an incredible stunt. So, this one here, this stuntman who gets caught, he actually literally got pulled that far back. He was there 1 minute and gone the next.
I think one thing that Neil got so brilliantly right in this episode, and I think was quite crucial to its success, is just getting the geography of Castle Black right. So you have to know where the courtyard is in relation to the top of the wall, in relation to the gate that they're all coming through, in relation to the tunnel that's going to be sealed. You have to get a sense of the kind of this little
map
of it, this little micro world, if it's kind of going to make any sense at all. Because Castle Black's not huge. Castle Black's a very small castle. So when you think of a castle that size, an environment of that size just being completely overrun by an army like this, it's really...
Yeah.
It becomes really terrifying and really unsettling.
Now, Ollie is played by an actor called Brannock, who is scarily talented for his age.
Scary talented in so many different
lots of
areas.
ways, yeah. And it puts us to shame, really. He's musically talented, he's acting talented, I mean, he's everything, isn't he?
Yeah. When I think about what I was like at that age, absolutely useless.
Yeah, I didn't think I was like dedicated to anything.
No, I wasn't.
You can put your mind to anything, no.
He's got a wonderful through line in this, having been the person who's witnessed his parents murdered by the woman he will eventually.
Yes, no, and then Yuri, I think, killed
Yeah,
his mom as well, yeah.
but he definitely saw you in the group. didn't he?
Absolutely. Yep, at one of the top episodes, yes.
I just think that whole network of things is quite interesting with the character of Ollie, because of course it's Jon Snow that teaches him how to fire an arrow in the first place, which eventually leads to the death of Ygritte. It's Sam who tells Ollie to fight and ultimately kill Ygritte, despite the fact that Ygritte has saved Gilly in the last episode.
It's a brilliant, and actually it was an anonymous. Oh, his death of Joe.
You're all right. You're all right.
Of course you're all right. Of course you're all right. Get a bit of Savlon on that. Right as rain.
He's coming. He's going to make it all right.
And there he goes. So sad. We were saying to Mark and Joe, do you remember this, Kit, during the filming process, that, you know, you may be going, but it's only because that David and Dan think that the death of these characters would inspire an emotional reaction in the audience.
Yeah.
If they were characters the audience were indifferent to and don't really care if they live or die, they wouldn't have given them these kind of deaths at these important moments.
Yeah, but you cared so much for Gwen and Pip over the course of the 4 seasons that impact is felt.
To see them go, it's a real kick in the guts to see them go at this stage.
Also, going back to Ollie.
Yeah.
That was originally an anonymous archer who kills Egret. And then
really?
Someone had the genius stroke of saying, you know what?
Let's connect it.
Makes so much more
with this
sense.
young boy.
Yeah.
Yes.
The great moments for us when we finally get to watch this episode, months after we finish shooting it, is we know the story, we know what happens to our characters, we know how some of the other scenes panned out. But because so much work happens in post-production, we have no idea what this kind of stuff's going to look like.
No.
Even in kind of ADR and our post-production, it's not quite finished.
So
we,
100%.
when we see this kind of stuff is when it's broadcast, and that's the great thrill for us to see how it's taken from the page to the screen. Sometimes you get something on the page that seems almost unfilmable. And the next thing you know, through this great creative team we've got, they put it onto the screen, and it's always very, very, never ceases to amaze me.
I think the moment for me in this episode was when the anchor, I know we're going to be coming to it soon, swings down across the wall, and that was when I really felt that, when I was just like, oh my God, I remember reading about this and just being totally unaware of just how incredible it will look and did look on screen.
That's the thing about writers as well. They can write, giant anchor swings down the side of the wall. But then,
for the way that it's pulled off.
But then the process starts of actually making that a reality, a kind of visual event.
The scene we just saw with Mark there.
Yeah.
Me and him spoke about that a lot. It's such a poignant moment, hopefully, that the two of them know that he's going to his death. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And there has to be that understanding without the words being spoken.
Yeah. Oh, that really comes across,
I think Mark carried that through perfectly. It was,
I think,
it was a beautiful moment.
I think you did too. I think those brilliant moments of so much can be said with just a single moment of eye contact. Because in that moment when two people are looking at each other, everything else melts away, everything else disappears, and it's just two people having an understanding between them.
Tell you what, I wouldn't want to fight Owen Teal in real life.
No, I wouldn't.
Charging Welshman.
Oh.
I'm happy that you stayed with him. I'm happy that he wasn't alone in his last few seconds.
Yeah. So very well you saying that now, Rose.
Say that again?
So very well you saying that now. Oh, here we go. This is a very satisfying moment for Sam.
This is the first man you've ever killed.
What a shot.
I know. Come on.
Right there, get him.
Bullseye. I think the difference between... I know, yeah. I think the difference between killing a kind of, a human being of sorts, and killing a White Walker is it's just a very different kind of emotional... The more emotional consequence of killing a person, which just shows Sam's development that he's ready to do that now if the cause is right.
Yeah.
Do you feel it's almost like a ladder run?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kill a White Walker, it's something that doesn't feel any emotion.
Very humane.
Yeah.
Yeah, this bit you spoke to me about, didn't you, John? Fight them, Ollie.
My name's Ollie.
Yeah.
Well, listen to me, Ollie. Get me to the top, and when we give the signal,
Bring us back down.
But interesting to see if that's ever referenced in future seasons. I don't know whether...
What?
I think it just does work as an all interconnecting thing.
Yeah.
The whole fight the Molly and Ollie then looking at the bow means that it links back to Sam having caused the death. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be referenced. I think the story is told so well.
Yeah.
I think it comes
That you
across.
pick up the clues anyway.
Yeah,
Yes.
that connection is kind of apparent to an audience. We don't really need to make it explicit, but it's just one of those little details.
This is a good shot.
Shouldn't have made him angry.
The more you watch this show, and then the episodes like this in particular, you really kind of get a sense of the craftsmanship and the skill at work in all departments.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you just look at the prosthetics, even the prosthetics, especially on these characters. I know that it's
On these giants.
Some of it's a kind of mixture of CGI and prosthetic, but the prosthetics that are in place that were actually there on the day. You know, I happened to have been in and saw one of the makeup tests on one of these giants, and it's just absolutely, it's just, you know, top draw stuff.
What are you doing up here?
The wardlands are over the walls. Sir Alice has fallen. The castle won't stand much longer.
Ed! You have the wall.
I think there's little moments where John realises he's going to see Ygritte. He doesn't think about it all the time, he's got a job at hand, but I think that's one of them, weirdly. The wildlings are over the walls. He knows who that includes.
Oh, yeah? I didn't even think about that.
No, it's sort of...
But do you think that's one of the reasons that he decides to go down in the lift? Or do you think it's because he knows that wildlings are over the wall, so he needs to fight them? And he's a very good fighter.
It's the idea that Alistair Thorne's fallen. There's no clear leader down there, and they need a clear leader, and I think John goes down to take that mantle. He has to. And he knows Ben is more than capable. He knows he can leave the top of the wall in capable hands.
Yeah.
There's not no commander. We hold the gate.
This is one of those moments that I just couldn't wait to see.
Yeah.
Father, save me. Father, save me. The gods are down here.
We were going to shoot a scene in this set after this, and we got down a little bit early, and we could hear them performing this speech from inside, and we just heard it, and it was unbelievably rousing, just the volume of it.
Shall not end until my death. I shall take no wife, hold no lands, father, no children. I shall wear no crown, win no glory. I shall live and die by my post. I am the sword in the darkness. I am the watcher on the
I can't watch it.
I am the shield. The guard surrounds the bed. I place my life. I honor in the night's watch. For this night and all the nights to come.
Wow.
This bit was the last thing we shot, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Yeah, well remembered. Yeah, we shot this on the green screen, didn't we? This little bit in the lift.
This little bit in the lift.
I need him more than I need you.
God, that seems like a long time ago. It was kind of a mixture of. You know, we were relieved to have got it done because it was such a big undertaking and physically very tiring for all of us, but quite sad as well. It was a kind of like a golden time. Look at this. Oh, and this is that shot.
Yeah,
This
it's
is
the
everybody's
360
favourite
shot.
As soon as I heard about this, that Neil was going to attempt this kind of shot, I just thought, this is just going to take it to the absolute next level.
I thought this was going to take days. It took 3 takes because the essays were that good and the stuntmen were that good.
Absolutely.
And everyone was on a timer, so everyone had different numbers. So as it's going around in the circle, you got group 1 through till 7.
Yeah.
And John, I think you were 7, weren't you?
I was 7, yes.
Yeah,
So
I think I was 3.
So you just have to listen out to mark the first AD, just barking your number out.
Yes, and then you start moving.
But it's just such a
They
kind
got
of...
it. I think this was the first take. I think the best one was the first
I think
take.
it was, yeah.
Really? I didn't know that.
And John really actually almost got killed here, didn't you?
Yeah.
When this happens.
Oh, I did, yeah. Yeah. With
That look of panic on his face is completely genuine.
Did you have any idea that it was going to come just above your head?
They said it's definitely gonna hit the wooden panel above the door. It might feel a little bit hot, but it's guaranteed to not actually touch you.
Never believe them.
I've heard the word guarantee before.
Never believe that on Thrones.
No, he's going for it. Amazing.
But it's the type of thing that you think, if that arrow had actually gone straight in the back of my head, they'd probably have used that footage.
No.
I think I would have. You're never going to get... Then people would talk about how great the CGI and prosthetics were on it.
It was such a pleasure fighting Yuri in this. He was so good.
But he's quick. Like, you guys were quick, and I know that you did several takes of this. My own work, sure. Thank you. I don't remember you recording.
Was it?
No, it was, honestly. I think I fell off on the first time.
Oh, yeah, you did. I recorded it, didn't I? Scary motherfucker.
I'm looking at a hand there. Couldn't see you at all. I'm looking at a hand.
My own work. And this is where John learns to be dishonourable. Spit in the eye.
Yeah.
All links back to episode 5.
Yes, is that not a trick that you've kind of picked up?
Of Carl Tanner. And here it is.
I remember you were very keen to like smile, and I thought that was very nice because it just shows that.
It was weird for us, wasn't it? Because this is the only scene we had in the whole season together, and then that happened.
That slight hesitation. Yeah, and it's so painful though because there's Ollie just so happy to be helpful and just so. It's great.
But the lovely thing about John smiling at that moment where he sees Ygritte is, I think, the fact that he gets to do the end again. You know what I mean? That thing about he's done one end and to be not quite happy with it. But if this is the end again, the fact that he gets to make it, you know, something that he's gonna remember. I mean, this unbelievable performances. These are really are.
This was my last scene.
Yes,
and
it
so
was.
this was the last thing that I ever shot, and it was very lovely and thoughtful actually of production to make sure that when I died, I didn't have to come back the next day.
Yeah, of course. I remember this.
This shot is beautiful. I love everyone in slow-mo in the background. It's wonderful.
And now is a good time to say what a wonderful job Rose Leslie did.
You're right.
It's very
Shut
true.
up. Shut up.
And now she's gone, so let's carry on.
I think this is the anchor boat. I thought it came sooner, actually.
Oh yeah.
This is it. Amazing. Oh no, yes. I just remember being completely in awe when I saw it. I was like, wow. It's a serious piece of TV. It is the best thing ever.
Look at Ed, all pleased with himself. That was my idea.
Tried to do this take about 3 times, but his cloak kept blowing in his face. His big epic moment.
They still outnumber us 1,000 to 1.
Oh, this is
And he's
great.
still going. Refuses to back down.
Norman, it's over. Let it end. This is how a man ends.
I really love your performance to what in the last few scenes of this episode, Kit. It's just somebody who's completely numb. You know what I mean? Not feeling
Oh, you're
anything anymore.
broken.
Just devastating. Absolutely gutted.
And I think what we wanted to get with this is this eye you should have is that he really wants to have been thrown from the top of the
Yeah,
roof.
most definitely, yeah.
And also, I think he really blames Tormund.
Yeah.
At this moment, you need someone to blame. He's like, it was you that took her
It's me.
in the
The
wedding
scapegoat.
party.
Yeah.
You're the reason I ever had to do this.
Yeah.
I missed you, didn't I?
Oh, it's so lovely. I like that you catch him.
Yeah.
I like that you catch
Because
him.
never again. No,
Does he have any kind of hierarchical
Now that somebody's
power?
seen him, do they? Never again is he ever going to hold any sway over anybody.
Yes.
That's it.
Now, we filmed this scene the day after doing a lot of the battle stuff, so my voice is actually gone,
Yeah.
which is kind of suitable.
Mance was testing our defences. He almost made it through.
Yeah, I really like this bit. I think it's really nice to have to bookend the episode between two bits of John and Sam and seeing how what's happened has completely changed their kind of dynamic, really, and what it's done to John. It's completely ripped the heart out of John.
But we'll never beat them.
Where are we going?
Going to find Mance.
You can't do that. No one gave you any orders.
Who's left to give orders? The Wilding Army is only an army because of Mance. He united 100 warring tribes.
Whose belly was that?
That was mine, I
That was
apologise.
Rose's,
Sorry, it's a really lovely scene and I ruined it because I'm
I
hungry.
once had to ADR a whole line because Rose's belly rumbled on the day, and I really
come on, it was before lunch.
I was like, what is that noise? And they think it's Rose's belly. Upstaged by your fucking belly. Typical.
Flay you. They'll make it last days.
You're right.
Good line, this.
It's a bad plan. What's your plan?
That's true, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sam's always got good plans, but at this point, it's sort of... And a lot of people, I don't know, I think a lot of, why does he have to go beyond the wall on his own? And I think it's because he's the only one who knows Mance. He's the only one who's going to be able to he's going to be let into the camp to do whatever he needs to do.
Definitely, yeah.
Here is a lovely mark.
Yeah.
That dead giant actually wasn't there on the day. It's amazing to think that, isn't it? That
So did he have anything lying on top of him?
No.
Big green sausage.
Yeah.
They held the gate.
I thought that would be my worst thing to do.
Close someone's eyes.
Well, no, to be the person with your eyes open and then maybe if your eyes get closed before the hand even covers them. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I love the fact that when you said that, I thought, what does she mean, getting killed by a giant or getting run through? No, just to have to act. To have to act having your eyes closed. It's the worst thing that can ever happen to
No,
Rose
but making
Leslie.
sure that it's a fluid motion with the other person's hand.
IMDb trivia. Rose Leslie, the worst thing that could ever happen to Rose Leslie is that she has to have her eyes closed.
It looks tricky.
I love the ending to this as well when it fades up to white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In case I don't come back.
And what was in front of you guys on the day?
That was literally what you see there because they had it opened up in front of us with the fires and stuff. They did, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, to some extent. And then it's kind of CGI from like a certain point upwards, but I think this was quite early on as well, somehow.
Yeah, not those mountains, for example.
Yeah.
Really?
Nah.
Big deep breath.
And there was a big red chutney catering truck that they've had to smudge out a little bit just for the sake of period.
Well, there we go.
There we go.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so
for
much.
Thank you
listening
for listening.
to our guff.
Guff's a very strong word, Kit. But look at all these people. Look at these people. Legends, one and all.
Yeah. CC up there. Dave Foreman.
All those stunt performers.
Unbelievable team.
Yes.
Well, I really enjoyed that. We certainly did. It's the first time I've only seen it once before when it went out. It's so nice to see it again.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm very, very proud of everybody. Everybody, the whole cast and crew across the board, very proud of their work on this.
If it had been absolutely terrible, I still wouldn't have minded because we had such a good time doing it.
You're right. As we have doing this commentary, so thank you very much for listening. Thank you. Bye-bye now. Someone else say bye-bye as well.
Goodbye.
Have I done it a bit early?
No, I don't think
Am I going
so.
to start whistling TV themes?
I'm Kit Harington. I played Jon Snow in this episode. Thank you so much for listening to our commentary.
I'm John Bradley. I played Samuel. Thank you so much for listening to the commentary.
And I am Rose Leslie, and I played Egret. Thank you for listening to the commentary.
Just in time.